It's supposed to get you like a little, get like, because you get it's like dancing and drinking. So, hey, all right, let's go. It's not loud enough. I'm sorry, but anyway, because you got like the drum solo, and I did a lot of research. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, y'all? Today, welcome to Pinky's Powerhouse Podcast. All right, and I want to say howdy and welcome. My name is Tanya, aka Pinky. And when life kicks you in the gut or slaps you in the face, how do you get back up? What motivates you or inspires you find the passionate energy to fight and be heard, taking your life back and then showing others how to inspire and reclaim their power? Let's dive in. This week's guest, we have Ishqua Hillman from Cannabis Babes. Woo! All right, ready? I got some more sound effects for you. Ready? So applause. Welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. I want to say, it's my honor to have your beautiful face here today. I'm so pleased. I just want to say, I know that you've done a lot of work in our community, and just recently, you're from San Diego, like myself, but you just went to New York and Hudson. I'm from Albany too. That's where my kids are. So,
oh, cool.
I'm like, I'd love to see you do the connect. So I want to say, let's see here. When you have life-changing experiences, share your inspirations and strengths that you use to overcome your life-changing experiences.
Inspiration and strength. And my daughter's always been the inspiration for everything good that I've done in my life. Wanting to give her a better life and just be the best version of myself I can as an example for her has driven me since the last.
I think that changes
5 years,
people once you become a parent. You realize you have to think of somebody beside yourself and rely on it and whatever. So being a parent is a really big job in the world, trying to make sure that your kids are educated and not going out there just half-cocked and crazy. Leaving a legacy.
Yeah, for sure. And she's great. Like she's awesome, little boss babe herself. So
tell us your story. How did you come up with this exciting, amazing, energetic thing to do to go out and touch people, make people smile, and also educate them about this beautiful medicine called cannabis?
I always say it was a happy accident or divine alignment, whatever you believe in. But
God was leading you to your direction.
What?
God was leading you to your direction.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I knew after about almost 20 years in corporate America and helping other businesses grow and learning a lot while I was working there as well. My last company, I helped grow significantly in a short amount of time. And
so you're good at connections. So basically bring in the shell and put it together, and then they fill it up because you have now they just put the ideas inside, kind of like a box, right? I would say in the shape or.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Okay, well, what I mean is, so what you're doing is you're guiding people. I wouldn't say it's like a folder, but it's like a box, like an application that you can make on your phone. You've made the shell, and now they have to fill it inside to incorporate how they're going to use it.
Yeah. I've helped a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. I guess you could probably describe that as one of the ways that I've done it. But with the last company, I had accomplished a lot there. However, when the time came to leave, it was pretty clear. So I did not expect to go into cannabis. This was, as I mentioned previously, a happy accident. But it was a space that I found needed the skill set that I felt like my life up until that point had really prepared me for. I never planned on doing a podcast. That was all very new to me too, Tanya. So go. I love seeing other people in the space and being able to use and build platforms to give other people.
There's lots of things to talk about. So
yeah, right. And everyone has such a different, unique perspective. And so, we get to be able to use this beautiful thing that we've built to advocate for the things that we care about and to make sure that people have a place to be able to share what's important to them as well. So that's really, my intention in the space was really just to create a safe space for women and men who support women to grow together. I met a lot of women when I first entered the space who were different entrepreneurs wanting to do different things. And it was funny because I would see like, oh, well, you need to connect with this person and you connect with them and you connect with them. And do you know them? And nobody knew each other. And I felt like, well, I'm the new one. How do you guys not know each other? Exactly. And so I found myself in this unique position of being able to be that connection. And so the fastest, easiest way to bring everyone all together, of course, is an event. This was pre-pandemic. So I started doing events. I started working with Rico Lamite and also hosting the monthly CBD Sundays and Canna Gathers in Orange County and LA. And so I made a lot of different connections and friends within the industry in a short amount of time. And I mean, within a couple months after leaving my job.
Like, see, that's your power. You realize you didn't have that and then it just flowed. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it really did. And so, I was really grateful for that. Definitely always had a million questions for everybody. I want to learn everything. I want to learn everyone's backstory and why they're here and why it's important to them and what their product is and how I can support other people knowing and learning more. And so, that led to, being able to host multiple events before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, however, I'll never forget Rico and I were driving back from LA the night before. He goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I think I'm going to go live. I can't stop the connections." And so it's always been about the connections for me and being able to have that space. And then it's just always been my passion to, I'm curious about people. I care about people. I want to know what they do. I want to know how I can support them. I want others to know the same things. I think most of us do want to know those things, but don't always take the time to ask those things of other people, or we feel it's invasive. And so a podcast is just a really great place to be able to satisfy that curiosity while also using the platform to amplify, again, whatever it is that's important to my guest.
Well, the thing is, sometimes you probably, this is the beautiful power when you come together. You never know what you're going to come across. And then you realize you put it together and you're just like, bam. You know what I mean? And then you feel the power because you're like, whoa. And that just flowed. And then you just find more. You just kind of go, okay, I got to go for that. So it becomes like an adrenaline. Like, we're looking for the next, keep going, bam. Like,
I mean, when we first got started, it was, the Canna Boss Babes was an idea that came to me when I was sitting at a table with Breezy Puffs and our girlfriend Lisa Ston. And basically Breezy was getting bullied by a mean girl group. And I was 42 at the time and going, what the fuck is that? My daughter doesn't even do this and she's 18, right? Like, what is that? And I said, well, you know what? And I knew a lot of other women I had been meeting with had the same experience. And I just don't like bullies. And so I created the Canna Boss Babes to be able to create a safe space so people don't have to choose. So I have a couple of Canna Boss Babe rules. Canna Boss Babe rule number 1 is the Canna Boss or a boss babe always handles their own business first. And that's twofold. One, that's for us women. And like, I am an introvert. I know everyone thinks I'm an extrovert, but that's because I'm sitting on my couch half the time. But like that makes it easier. I'm at home. I'm comfortable. I might even be in like pajama pants. You don't know. I'm not right now, but they are bicycle shorts. And so, like, I'm comfortable because I'm comfortable at home. I'm safe at home. I can say whatever. I can be whatever. And, I always say I am the most free, the more me I can be. And so that is like very much an important thing. And so again, can be totally comfortable. But, having the second rule was that a Canna Boss Babe always makes up their own mind. And it's very important to me because I don't have to agree with all my friends to love them. I don't have to agree with everybody in order to love them and find value in them. And that just comes from an inherent sense that I feel that every single person on this planet has value. Maybe not to you directly in your life, but they touch other people's
I think
lives
we're all
and they
connected in some
matter.
way. It's just whether we find that connection or not. Because
Yeah. And so, and I'm just also not looking to control anybody. I know that there's a lot of people who feel very lost in the world, and they like to find people to look up to so that way they can adapt similar beliefs and even sometimes mannerisms and things. And so it can go a little far. And my whole thing is I've always said, I'm not your boss. I'm here to help you learn to be your own boss babe. The Canna Boss Babes is not me. The Canna Boss Babes is you. The Canna Boss Babes is Safi. The Canna
you are
Boss
what you
Babes
make
is
of it. So it's
anyone in the space that has a desire to build something and uses cannabis to do that. The Canna Boss Babes name breaks stigma. Most people think lazy stoner. They don't think stoned multi-entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. And yet, if you're in our industry, that is very much the truth.
well, the
So,
thing
yeah.
is the biggest part too is about education, because really there's still a stigma about this, and it still being a controlled substance and
Yeah.
such. That really, it's like the gateway drug. Are you kidding? Really? I'd rather see somebody stoned than drunk and being an asshole. I mean, sorry for
I mean, but a lot of people don't have that experience, right? Alcohol is so normalized. Like you look at it and it's on TV,
they mix their
right?
own in jail.
It's you've got even though DUIs are illegal, we've got tumblers just for weed.
You don't know what's in it if it's got a lid.
Like
You don't know.
right? We, our governor recently took CBD hemp beverages off the shelves in
Oh,
California. But a kid can walk into any 7-Eleven and grab something off the bottom
really?
shelf. Like there's, or a gas
Well, I know
station or
CBD
anywhere,
is, but I
right?
didn't
So
think about
alcohol's
THC.
anywhere. Alcohol's fine, but cannabis is not. And that's just normalization,
Should it have be able to smoke pot first before drinking anyway? But that's just
Well, here's the thing. That was never going to happen. So there was, you know, um, at one point alcohol was also illegal, but you got to think how many
people died over
alcoholics
making their own alcohol. That was
were in
gross. I
government.
mean, it screws your insides.
Well, but there's alcoholics in government and they want their
Yeah,
alcohol. They also wanted to be able to get the money from the alcohol industry, the tobacco industry, the
they're trying
pharmaceutical
to eat their
industry,
face.
all of those industries, and I suspect lumber was probably in on it too back then. Like if you really
People
think
were
of
probably
like who
bootlegging
were the
lumber down the
industries
river,
that
of
had the
course,
most
with
to
the boat.
gain from removing cannabis and hemp from the planet as they tried to do, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So, tell me about your childhood, you're a proud mom. How old is your daughter? I mean, you know what I mean. It's like starting the cycle because the story starts. You're put into your
Yeah,
environment.
yeah. Okay, so a couple things. I will just quickly correct you. So
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Ishka. There's no
Okay.
U in my name, so it sounds like a K instead of a Q. But fun fact, my second grade teacher marked every single one of my papers down half a point because I never added the U after my name. But there's no U in my name.
That's how could she just like? I'm sorry, but my mom on my
So
birth certificate
fun
says that. Like,
teacher.
so that's
She was a fun one. I always laugh because her son was in that class. It was a first and second grade immersion class, and he picked his nose and ate it. So I figured that was her punishment. Um, she had one of those as a child. She had to claim him. So sorry, Billy Olson.
because if you look at where you were from your
um,
childhood to now, to as growing into your woman and growing into your power, the steps along the way.
Oh, completely different. I mean, I grew up in a very chaotic household. There was every type of abuse by my family by the time I was 5. So, it was a lot. And ended up on the streets pretty much on my own at 12. The first time my dad actually gave me a bus ticket and a roll of quarters and said, "Come home when you run out." I learned how to panhandle and came home 5 days later. I was 12. And so I would take the Greyhound from Santa Cruz to Oakland and back and forth. And I'd either be somewhere in Oakland or San Francisco or San Jose or Santa Cruz areas, just on my own, sleeping on a park bench, maybe meeting someone and them saying, oh, come to my house and sleep on the floor. Sometimes that worked out well. Sometimes it did not. There was definitely a lot going on. I did end up spending a lot of time in juvenile halls and group homes. By the time I was 15, I went into I think I was 14 when I went into the group homes the first time. They were not good. I was in with like people that had done drive-bys and stabbings and killed people and stuff. And I had like stolen to live. You go into the store and you steal some like a Pop-Tart or something. And like you go and you're like, okay. And you're like, a kid. I did also a little bit of forgery. I took my stepmother's checking checkbook and I wrote myself a couple checks. So that's how I got in trouble ultimately, and ended up in the juvenile halls, which were better. The first time I was in juvenile hall was the first time I ever felt safe. So I really, and that was San Leandro Juvenile Hall specifically. So
you've had a really rough
time. I was not ready to leave when they took me to my final group home. I was not ready to leave. It was like a 3.5 hour drive away from the city. And they took me to this house that had an orchard on basically 3 sides of it. And I said, nope, take me back to the hall. I am not staying here. This is some country shit. And there was an older man who finally.
You've had
I've had moments. My transportation officer, John, he was great though. I wish I could remember his last name so I could look him up and see if he's still around. He was great. Really great guy. And so what happened was this man came out of this house after John had already been inside having coffee for a little while. It was probably about a half hour. And they come out and he goes, you sure you don't want to come in? And it's warm in there and we've got food. And do you need to use the bathroom? And well, at that point it had been like 4 hours. So yes, I did. So he got me in to go to the bathroom. And honestly, it was one of the nicest homes I'd ever been in. And there were some girls there. And most everyone else was at school though. And they had, food and different TVs and things. And I go and I sit down. And they say, our names are Pat and Jean. The girls call us Mom and Dad. And I couldn't remember which one was Pat and which one was Jean. So they became Mom and Dad pretty quick. And they said that everything that happened before then doesn't matter. And we don't talk about it. You can be whoever you want to be. And I thought to my little 15-year-old wise ass self, yeah, right. My response was, yeah, right. And so a couple hours later, the girls start coming home from school. And there's one girl who comes and she has 2 little friends come back with her. She had curly hair like me. And she had girls come with her and they were trying out for cheerleading tryout in the backyard. And she had a 4.26 and this cute boyfriend. And I was like, anything, huh? Okay, that. And 6 months later, that was me.
See, we get inspired from other people.
And it was great. I really just needed a stable environment. I needed people that cared about me, that would, there goes the kitten, with the noisiest.
How can we, help each other?
Why? Okay, that won't happen again. And so there I was, really making the most and being able to get I got 2.5 years of a normal childhood.
Well, see, if we invest in that,
or pretty normal,
share the love, we'd have so much more positivity in the world. If we
Say that
had so
again.
much more, because even you're a product of your environment, and if you could share the love and
Oh
give the
yeah.
tools as a child, then you could embrace it instead of it. See, what you did is you learned the hard way, but sometimes the hard way you get more information than learning. So proving that you
I
can
mean,
rise above.
it's actually everything, just like I felt like my whole career has led to me being able to do this now, right? Like everything happens
Yes.
for a reason. And I always felt like that when I was younger, because again, my mother was very religious, and so one of the stories that always stood out to me was Job, and so during the story of Job, he is a privileged man. He has this wonderful, beautiful life. The story is God and the devil make a deal to see what he does when everything's taken away, and if he will forsake God or not, right? And the whole point is to stand strong, and when you will, you'll be rewarded tenfold. And so I just always felt like that story resonated with me as a kid, and that if I just get through the hard part, the good part will come. And as hard as it is, it will be 10 times better than it was hard, and to just keep getting through. And I think that that's something that has probably driven a lot of the hard times that I've gotten through, really. When I was young, it was a religious thing. As I've gotten older, I just think it's karma.
Well, because basically, what was your biggest obstacle or darkest time in your life? How did you overcome it, and how did it change you?
I mean, my childhood was it. The instability of my childhood was definitely the hardest time of my life. So it caused me to not really see myself clearly for many, many years afterwards. I was still, I mean, even after I got out of the group home, I ended up living on my own my senior year. I had my daughter on my own. Like, I went and I would find success in other places, and I try to take it back to my broken family and say, look, and be proud, and it's okay. And it just was never enough. And so I think that need for validation coming from that broken place of never having gotten it when you're little, sometimes we go and we chase that. For me, I chased it within my family. I chased it in other relationships. I chased it even in friendships. And so instead of recognizing my worth and these people that weren't worth it, I kept repeating patterns that kept me in loops, needing validation from other people. And so I think that that's the biggest way that it harmed me, was it kept me limited and not even aware of my own ability to create
It held you
life,
back.
because I was so busy chasing
Exactly. You held you
validation.
back. You weren't blinded. You had blinders on. You were just
Right, right. And life is about
yes.
creation. Like, we, especially
Creativity.
as women, are supposed to be creating, right? Like that is our purpose, is to create. And so, if you are lucky, you have people who raise you to know your power and how much you can do, and that you're
Even your
supported
chosen family
in
becomes powerful.
whatever endeavors you chase, right? But most of us don't have that. And a lot of that is, I think, part of the intention of the society we live in, keeping us busy and scurrying and chasing a check and in survival mode doesn't give you much time or ability
Concentrate on yourself.
or even
Come
belief
into your own.
that something more is possible.
What is
Yeah.
your advice to other people going through
Oh,
these similar experiences? What
say that
is
again.
your advice to other people going through these similar experiences?
Oh, I mean, I think it starts with, if what it is that you have to almost re-landscape yourself, right? Like, we grow up in our environments, so then we're reflective of our environments and whatever seeds have
Good
been
or
left
bad?
there to
Yes.
grow. And good or bad, right? And so as adults, part of adulthood is recognizing that and doing the work, the inner work of, hey, that belief, where did that come from? Does that resonate with me now? Do I agree with that? Is that something I want to hold on to and maintain? Or is that something that is causing me to be limited in an area of my life? Right. And so it's not an easy thing to go through all the thoughts that we have, but I think it's been probably the most important tool for me, is to be able to identify those thoughts that run through our mind, which are mine and which are maybe others voices, in which case that's not relevant. That's just like an old radio station coming through.
My mind is like fireworks. I'm always going 20 different directions, going, ooh, that's good.
Right. And so to stop and slow down, that's where meditation is so powerful. Like meditation is so powerful to be able to do that. I've done that for me, a lot of my meditation has actually come through the work of yin yoga. And being able to, especially as someone who, when I was young, I was sexually abused as well. So then, and physically, regularly since I was 2. So I learned to ignore my body when I was growing up. I learned to ignore anything that hurt. I just tune out, and so yin yoga has taught me how to tune back in and really listen and really honor. And there's something in the exhale where I can even let go of old emotions, and it's just a really beautiful healing experience. So but yeah, that slowing down and really taking one thought at a time and making that conscious decision. Is that something I want to continue?
So your advice basically for anybody is really in order to come into your own is to find a space and give yourself a minute, even if it's quiet, just to see yourself rather than see what other people see, or just see what you're going through and what you're doing.
Well, yes, I guess. I think it's, we are so reactive to things. We have a tendency to be reactive. And so, but not always asking ourselves what or even who is reacting. Is it the 47-year-old boss babe, or is it the 5-year-old that's upset about something else? You do have the inner child.
You have to figure out how to combine the two so they can grow together. You know what I mean? So, right.
Well, that's what it is being able to really evaluate what are the actions and the things that I do, and how that impacts my life, and if we have a wound and other people trigger it without knowing, we like to sit there and say they did something. But the reality is we have it's the universe reflecting to us, where we just have a little. Isn't that like what
reactions are? We react to simply, but if you had the power in yourself, it's not your reaction, it's how you react to them, and then that's how you can be the power, right? So
that's the power. I feel like so many people miss that too. I do. I'm very blessed. I love all my babes. I'm always happy to be here and have conversations with them and help them through moments. And a lot of times I talk about it as being a perception switch, right? And so one of the beliefs I hold, and I have this on my desk at all times, is perspectives are like facets of a diamond. The more you can see, the more brilliant life is, right? And so to be able to really thank you. So, but to be able to really look at things from a lot of different ways. And so to understand also, other people don't experience life.
We don't put ourselves in other people's shoes to realize what that would feel like.
Right.
And that's empathy.
And so to leave room for that, leave room. And like I said, grace, giving myself grace, which most of it don't even do that. We're very hard on ourselves. But if you didn't know better, you didn't fucking know better, and now you do. Keep it moving, babe.
It's okay. Fine. I know you just rescued a little kitty. Can we see him? Now you're not just a mom for a mom child. Now you have a little kid. Oh, he's running around. Okay, well.
There's 4 cats in this house now, actually. 3 of them are my daughters. Her boyfriend keeps bringing them home to me. I have one, but he's brought one home. He brought one home last May and this April. Think if it's not right,
a real human being, but the thing is, it's an animal, so there's, anybody's getting responsibility on how to take care of another person or another thing when they have animals. So, lessons already.
Oh, I am forever the mama. Like even as a little girl, I very much mothered others, and probably because my own mom sucks so much. But
You
like,
decided, this is what I
it
wanted to
was
be as
in
a
me.
mom, and so you started putting it out there. So again, you're
I mean, that may have been one of the many reasons that she
I
just,
wanted to be
I don't
better
know,
than my
resented
mom,
me
or
or
show her,
something. I don't
be
know.
an example to show her how to be a better mom, or what unconditional love is.
Oh, it's such a complicated thing, and I don't really actually talk about her very often. Or but yeah, a long time ago, I realized the people who hurt me most were very hurt
Yeah, I say they're
people.
probably the people that hurt. It's like it's a recurring unfortunate. How do you get off that roller coaster, that ride? Because really, if you could empower them to
Yeah.
say, "Why are you staying in this wallow when you can be in the shine?" So
Well, but not everybody is ready for accountability. And that's a very hard. So again, we're talking about environments where there's multiple people that sit there and justify and defend. And so I am actually one of those people who um, does not have communication with my family at all.
you made your own
That
chosen
actually
family.
took a
So
very long, again, I chased them for validation for so long. I finally realized that was something they weren't capable of giving. And yet they were taking quite a bit from my life regularly and often. And so raising a daughter on my own, I made the decision about 13, 14 years ago that uh, that was no longer the best use of my time and energy. And honestly, I hadn't been able to start building in my life until then. So
see,
I know there's a
we
lot
all
of
need
societal
moments.
pressure for families to like, oh, but it's your family. But I don't care who it is and how they're related to you. If they take your time and energy, that's all you
Succubus.
have in this world. That's it.
Well, you're basically, I mean, it's like when we're all searching for validation, you're searching for that support, that just little niche that it gives you just, even to get a 2-second breather, just sit down for a second and like, okay, I'm a person and I have feelings. Now, what am I
Yeah.
doing? And
Mhm.
so, really, that once you can see yourself instead of seeing other people, then you can start realizing, wow, what is my power and how can I use it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it was. And, cannabis was a great tool for that. Just like spoke about yin yoga, like slowing me down and stopping. Cannabis was a pleasant surprise. Sure, I got high as a teenager, even a little younger than that. And there were definitely other times that I smoked it but it wasn't until my mid 30s that really uh
It changed as
it
it
hit
changed
me
for
different.
you. Yeah,
It
right?
hit
It
me
changed for
different.
you.
It hit me different.
Yep.
I hadn't been sleeping. My anxiety had gotten to the point of I was only going to work and taking my daughter to school for 4 years. It was bad. So I always laugh at that part now. And I was like, and now I'm like at these events. It's really wild. Who am I?
But see the
But
simple
cannabis
things.
has helped me. And then the community has helped me so much. Again, like I spoke about feeling comfortable in my home earlier, so many of these events, because I've gotten to know so many of these people, you're all home too. So, it's always a safe place and fun place to go
Just
and
make it your
smoke with
shelter
my
and
babes.
your
Yeah.
solace.
Yeah. Like so I live up in Long Beach, but I love coming down to San Diego and visiting you girls. Sappy,
Oh,
I
see?
always
Okay,
say,
good.
has
I
the
didn't know.
best events. I love her for her girly events. I'm super
I
excited for
know I
her
wanted to do the
pool
Kush Babes, but
party.
I'm already volunteering for Pride. I wanted to do the pool party. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Well,
And
have fun for me.
I love Safi. She's someone who she works really hard. I see a lot of myself
She's
in
a rebel.
her,
Yes,
like
exactly.
when I was still struggling with some of the lessons, and so we have such a great relationship of, um, I really admire her transparency and her willingness to really look at herself and want to be better and to be able to recognize where she has work to do. And that's such not an easy thing for a lot of people to do. And the way that she does it just
See, I
makes
want to
me
make
love
it to
her
be a powerful
more.
network that we can offer a hand up, not a hand out. And then we're all empowering each other and making all the women stronger.
That's what it is like just being able to acknowledge, like, it's so funny. We have, and she's coming this weekend for us to do some more operations on our business. But like being an entrepreneur is not easy. There are moments that we are like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? And all we need is to be able to support each other through those moments and also know this too shall pass. Like that, she last time she was supposed to come up for a weekend and she was like the day before, I don't even know that I should be doing this anymore. What am I doing? What am I thinking? And I said, oh, that's just a part of the process. Get your butt up here. And
Exactly.
so
You want
we
to tell
need
them
each
to
other
stop
to do that
thinking and let's go.
sometimes.
Put your big girl panties on and let's get rocking.
Let's go. We're going to do it anyway. Guess what? You'll get over it.
See, that's
Like
it.
there
What's
was,
we need
I'll
is you need
never
a powerful
forget.
support network. And so
I was making good money before I became an entrepreneur on my own. And it's easy to make money working for somebody. Well, it's not easy making money for somebody else. There's different challenges, right? Like you don't have to worry about rent, but you do have to worry about working with people maybe you don't like so much, or doing things you don't want to do, or whatever the things are, right? And yes, we all have to have a level of adulting. My adulting is making sure my rent is paid now with all my consulting and because the paychecks aren't as regular or as big as they used to be all the time. And so, and I loved shopping. I've had to change how I function and like what makes me feel good when I want a little retail boost and we don't have the retail budget. And I'm just more mindful with my money now as an entrepreneur. And I think also with everything that's going on in the world and learning to live on less in order and really looking at it as a trade for my freedom. And so, I don't really miss paychecks because I don't miss working for other people. And there's
I don't miss working for other people either.
Yeah, no. Like so one of my little fun little things to do is go for a walk in the morning. I have like a really nice trail nearby and it ends up being about 3 miles and going when everyone's in rush hour and like stuck on 7th trying to get to work, and I'm there walking and I'm like, I'm that bitch. They hate me so much right now. I remember being in my car and being like, who the fuck gets to just walk right now? Me.
I take my time.
So, and because it's my freedom. Yeah. And it's funny because my life's so much more rich now. Like I don't have the paycheck, but my life is so much more rich now. Like who I surround myself with, who I get to call friend, the work that I get to do, that I get to do my heart's calling, and that I get to do things that are equitable and impactful is like, yeah, everything.
Yeah, I don't have money either, but I think it's your heart that you put into it, and that's what drives you, and that's the richness that you receive from all the time. You know what I mean?
It is.
Money,
hey,
money
5 years after being an entrepreneur, I'm also learning how to have conversations to make sure that I'm paid what I'm worth as well. And and know your worth. And learning how to be able to balance that work with the passion projects, but also learning how to get paid for those passion projects.
Do you have a charity or do you do community service?
I do. So I also formed a 501c3 back when I started the Cannabis Babes years ago, because we be doing all the things over here.
Great business gives you a great charity, and then people are going to return and keep coming back and using you.
I mean, that was a funny thing. I didn't even mean to start it then. I shared my idea that I had for a couple of years and been building with a friend. And she says, we have to do this now. And I said, what? I just quit my job and like, I'm starting a business and I can't do a nonprofit now too. And she goes, no. But the city needs this. We have to do this now. And so the original idea was based on how to do adulting, and I still have all that. But when the pandemic happened, there was a crisis for our houseless in the city. And so my partner Pam started really digging in with the local neighborhood association. And so that's actually been our biggest program for now 3 years. I did take a step down from PEC at the beginning of this year.
What is PEC? Is that an acronym?
Long Beach PEC, Peer Education Community Center.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
So
thank you.
the programs are Pam and Angela, my partners, have done so many different amazing programs, but they both have been following a very similar path the last few years. And I've been over here doing this stuff, So it's so the programming right now is helping the houseless through Project Dignity. And then they also both are death doulas. And so they have a grief group and they get to help people who have lost loved ones and are doing a lot of work with that. That work has also led to them even exploring options for like human composting and other things as well, which is actually really kind of interesting because it's better for the environment. And some of their other programs, Pam just does so many different things around town, including teaching and talking about different mushrooms and psychedelics and plant medicine and things as well.
Yes,
so there's, that's great and I love it. But they got that covered. And I just, at the beginning of the year, I was like, you know what? You guys got that. I need to just step away because the meetings and everything are a lot of time. And if I don't feel like I'm really contributing that much, like I can always support and I'll always be their platform, but I don't need to be a part of the daily or the regular activities and meetings if I'm not really contributing. So I stepped back from that. Although we're still totally working together because my friend Miyoko Toy, who is a Navy veteran and cannabis advocate, she is finally ready to start her own 501c3 compassion program.
Exactly.
I'm helping her build that.
Well, because Troy Holistics here in San Diego has a compassion program, and not any of the dispensaries here anywhere else, and it should be everywhere. And my biggest thing is, give a vet a joint and take away their gun. We're saving their lives.
So the compassion programs, when Prop 64 passed, medical cannabis kind of went away for 2 years. It took 2 years before they wrote into the law how we can distribute compassionate cannabis. And that's cannabis free of charge to patients. The industry is under immense pressure and is in survival mode. It's not doing well, as you know.
Just like we voted down the taxing because they're trying to increase the taxes and we're just trying to get
I know. And so what's happened is a lot of these dispensaries and brands are in survival mode. There's a lot of money owed. And so there ends up being a lot of reasons why there's not more product donated to the compassion drops to the shops that are willing to work with us.
Somebody drove it to the ground and they could have been using that to help people.
So and so it became deprioritized when recreation became legal. And so now what we're dealing with is even those compassion programs that we're holding on, that we're trying to do well, they're having a harder time than ever running them. And so what Yoko and I have come up with, and actually I have the SOPs on my other screen here, is a 3-part process for compassion. One being SB 34 and being able to go through the dispensary, but it's going to require volunteers to run. We can't rely on the brands and the dispensaries to be working together to make this happen. We really need volunteers.
Yeah.
And so, both for in person on the day of, but then also to be reaching out to brands to be able to get make collections, and making sure that the brand retailer relationship is intact, because if money's owned, the brand's not going to ship free product for the dispensary to promote when they owe them. So there's a lot of politics involved in compassion now, unfortunately, which then makes it harder for people to roll out. But more and more, these dispensaries are killing their compassion programs because they take a lot of staff time and they can't always get enough product. And so what's happened is there's been stories of people going and driving 2-3 hours to a drop because there's not one closer to them because all the programs are dying out. And so they drive 2-3 hours and they end up getting a bag with stickers and a vape. And how would you feel if you were a patient who needed free medicine and drove all that way and spent all that gas for a vape and stickers, which I'm sure I have somewhere around here.
You're like, what is this, McDonald's? Yeah, right?
Yeah. And so it's a shame because the patients have gotten left behind. The other thing is, if you look at the legislation that's been up at state regarding cannabis in the last year, at least year, I would have to go back further. The patients are the ones most at risk in that legislation. The legislation is primarily for the cannabis businesses. And if you look at the way it's written to help the businesses, but it's always ends up being at the expense of the patient. And it's just how politics is done. Unfortunately, it's very dirty and gross.
It's powerful to change it.
But more than ever, it's important for us to run volunteer-led programs. So the first leg is SB 34 compliance. And then we have 2 more legs where we plan on it being more patient to patient, drop off. So as an influencer, I get blessed with a lot of different things. I don't need all those things.
Oh, you see, you share
I'm never going to smoke all those things.
You're doing well and doing good in the neighborhood, so keep it up.
Well, I mean, and so I am very good and always have been good about, donating and giving back, whether it be to, sometimes I give it to Pam to give it to the people on the street because I know they'll want those wraps. I'll never smoke them, but I know they do, or whatever it is. So I am generous with mine, but a lot of people I know in this space end up with just drawers and drawers and drawers of stuff. They don't even know what to do with it. It's like, hello. And so
I've been making my own compassion program and just handing them out.
Right. And we can do that too, and we just don't think to. And then so definitely being able to have places and drops or even events, right, where we invite the patient group, we invite the influencers, and that's really what the hope for this year's Babes in the Bay is. Although I may be postponing it with all the military presence in my city right now. So TBD on that. But we will arrange some kind of get together where we can come and get everyone together, both, the patients and the influencers, and have fun and create content and connect everybody and really express the importance of this program and how everyone can really help support, even if it's just advocating for it.
Never give up, even if you hit speed bumps, because sometimes it's just a phase.
Hey, there's always more work to do. There's always more work to do. Yep. But this is why I'm like, a check. But if I were working for someone else and having to do what they want to do, I wouldn't be able to do this right now. And this is so much more important. Like, this feeds my soul, and I'm feeding everything else. Everything else is good. Like, I've got some pretty happy clients right now. So I really can't complain even financially.
I'm so blessed and amazed to know more about you and to now hope that we can be in a network and we are, raising women and raising people and sharing our productive stories. So I guess I would like to thank you so much for sharing a part of you with us today, and ask you what's your lasting phrase, or like what is
my big one that everybody really loves when I share, and I will write something about this someday, but turning worry into wonder. And so that is the mindset that, with the use of cannabis, it's not just, getting high and like all of a sudden everything's rainbows. It's, you have to retrain your brain, right? And so what I ended up being able to do was, after reading an article that anxiety and excitement are the same physiological feeling, the only difference is what we tell ourselves. So knowing that, being able to turn worry and all the different things to worry about into wonder, and remember that everything's divinely aligned and timed and happening for me, not to me. And so that when I go places, I get to go and in with wonder of, oh, I wonder who I meant to meet.
But
I
wonder
wonder what
becomes intelligent
conversations I meant to
and
have.
smart and makes you into big, and that comes
Right.
into
And
power.
it's just so much more expansive, right? Because then we're open to what the possibilities and opportunities are, rather than when we worry, we contract and we're covered in worry. And so I turn worry into wonder. And that's the biggest thing, is just to remind ourselves who the fuck we are, what we're capable of, that we got this far, and that whatever comes, that we'll be prepared for as well.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. And I have some cheering ready. You are amazing. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you
Right?
so much for having me.
Ishka, right? Did I pronounce right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Right. I'd like to also say, okay, so thank you, Ishka, thank you for listening and joining us. Brief, the next episode, our guest is Pamela Gort, and she is also a podcaster, the love guru, the lesbian love coach, and she also has Etsy, where she would help people make bling. She would make jewelry with people in other countries and created a business so they would have a platform to make money. So I really look forward to sharing the stories of empowering people in our lives. And I want to say thank you so much. And I wish you goodness into the world and blessings and love.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Tanya.
I am so grateful for you to be here today. And,
Uh-oh. Did we freeze? Have a good day, y'all.